What's going on, everybody? Silent here. So, here's the thing. I must have at least 100 hours in Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, and I actually enjoyed the fucking game so much that I wanted to talk about it and make other videos and help other people out with small little guides for it. See, the problem about this game that I had going through was that it's still a Japanese-made game originally, you have to remember, so there's not a lot of information since it's really new, because it was made at the end of last year too, that you can find that's also translated and makes perfect plausible sense and isn't vague, and it has a very niche fan base for the people that do make guides or talk about the things that you can do in this game and how to get this and get this done and shit. So I'm going to do things in a very simple guide here. So this is 17 tips for you guys to make things a little easier on you when you're first getting into the game. So here goes nothing. Okay guys, so starting with tip number 1, it sounds really obvious and like I'm insulting your intelligence, but pay attention to your bullet line, because you can literally dodge bullets in this game if you do a well-timed quick step following the bullet line. Tip number 2, watch your step. As Capcan once said from Rainbow Six Siege, a real hunter always watches where he steps. And that's especially accurate here. Enemies spawn really close up, and when you're practically running into them early on in the game, when you're excited and you're just very gung-ho when you shoot at everything that's right in front of you. This will get you killed. It's definitely fun to treat the game like it's your oyster, I'm down with that, but remember that enemy players can spawn in the landscape. AI players, but still, don't underestimate them. They level up with you, and AI players have aced my ass more than anything else in this game. It's never fun to be on a killing rampage and then get shut down by random anime guy number 2 that spawns behind you and 360 no-scopes your ass with a fucking sniper rifle. It's one of my gripes about this game, but just remembering this tip will save you a lot of time and headaches. Number 3. Use your UFG. Seriously, don't fucking forget about it. It's the only way to climb vertical terrain, or at least it's the only way to climb vertical terrain that you cannot jump and then clamber up onto. Or, you know, you can do what I do and just try to walk into a ladder until you get an interact button and wonder why it's not working. That's fine too. This is a really important one here. Don't be afraid to spend your skill points and your CP. Now, I spent a lot of the game saving up all of my level up points until I got a very good amount of them, and then would gradually level up over time. Now that greatly limits your abilities in this game. You're a lot less tankier and you cannot wield guns as you start unlocking more. And plus, at any point in time you can activate a specific console in your house, this one right here, to be able to refund any of your points with a respec by deleting the loadout that you're using. Now you only start out with one of these, but you can get up to 5 just by progressing through the main storyline of the game. Do not buy passive respec point kits from the metal trader, just do this. Delete your loadout and then start all over again with that and just put your points down again. Plus you can manually save on this, and that's pretty cool, I guess. If Final Fantasy VIII taught me anything when I was running around with 99 cures, 99 blizzards, and 99 fires at about fucking level 7 or whatever it is that your starting level was in that game, it's that if you grind enough in an RPG, you can accomplish anything. And there's no difference here. Fatal Bullet is a grind fest with shooter mechanics, so if you ever get stuck, try leveling up your characters a couple. Might help you. As George Washington once said, don't be a pussy and remove the auto-target from time to time. Seriously though, try it. There's definitely some risk-reward benefit here, especially if you miss a lot, but look how much more damage I'm doing with headshots than the body shots to these enemies. Honestly, I think it's well worth it. Number 7. Use your skills and swap allies frequently. Like I said, this game is a grindhouse, so try to mitigate that grind as much as possible for your late game. And you can do this by leveling up your skills and get better versions, and by swapping allies so that everybody gains a little bit of affinity as you go on. I used Silica and my Arphicist for literally half of the game, so I only gained affinity with one character at a time for a very long time, and that sucked late game. Also remember that your Arphicist levels up when you do, so you don't have to use them all the time to keep them leveled. Tip number 8. Did you know that skills stack? I read that on the internet one day. I'm blatantly lying to you. I know this because I tried it out, dummy. Two different levels of a skill can be set on the same skill set, meaning that you can use all three variants of Omnia Vanitas and become the ultimate sports car that you always aspired to be. Fuck you, Scorpion, I'm fulfilling my dreams. So for number 9, remember that every enemy has some form of a strategy. Some way or another. Look, I'm not going to be the guy that's like, oh, well, the reason you didn't succeed there is because you suck at the game, or some bullshit. I'm not some backseater on Twitch Gaming watching fucking alpha testers play Escape from Tarkov. I'm an actual fucking human being that's dangerously allergic to bullshit. And sometimes bullshit happens in Fatal Bullet, and there was little you could do about it. However, that being said, there are often ways to circumvent the problem. Put more healers in your party, or try different skills. Instead of running at that enemy's head-on and using a shotgun and then getting your shit pushed in harder than a pedophile in a maximum security prison, why don't you try bringing a sniper rifle this time? Flexibility helps a lot. This one might sound like I'm insulting your fucking intelligence again, but just trust me here. Check the database under the Options tab in the menu and at least skim through it at the start of the game. I don't know if it's a difference between Eastern and Western culture games, but Star Ocean did a similar thing, and rather than hold your hand through a mandatory tutorial, it gave you a guide that you can access, and it didn't really teach you much through the gameplay itself. Or at least it didn't force you to do that, rather. There were a few things that I don't remember coming up in this game, like weapon arts and the emotes menu, and they aren't even listed in the button configuration, they're just in the database for you to read. A question that most people will probably ask early on is if they should level up their weapons or not. The simple answer is no. Wait. The longer one depends on the longevity of the weapon. If the item is blue or yellow rarity, that means you can slap on 2 or 3 different affixes on it to make the gun better. And some of these get pretty important late game. Don't blow all your resources, however, and all of your chips, because each weapon can only be upgraded twice, reaching a ++ in its name. After that, it's useless until you find a second and possibly a third iteration of the weapon. I haven't gotten far enough to see if there is a third version, but I'm just guessing. So, anyway, if you really like the gun and the feeling of how it works, then definitely upgrade it so that it lasts you a little bit longer. Number 12. So what about items, then? To put it bluntly, you can't modify them. Unless it's a DLC that I don't have. Sell any items that you don't think that you'll ever use to save inventory space, and keep a few pieces to add some flexibility. On the topic of storage, use your box to store all of your monster drops. Your storage box, not the one that you were thinking, you filthy animal. If at any point in your inventory exceeds the maximum, then you're gonna move ungodly slow in the field. And this happened to me one single time in the game, and I had no fucking idea what was happening. I thought my character somehow gained more weight from my equipment, so it made me move slower, which didn't make any sense now that I'm thinking about it now, but, you know, whatever. Fuck my brain. Tip 14. Yes, there is a certain point in the game where you cannot access every character in the game. Depending on your level of internet self-spoilers, you know what I'm talking about. This means that you have a limit to how far you can go in the story before you tend to the affinity grind on your character to get the perfect ending of the game. This being said, know that you must get a bad end before you can get the good end of the game. At least I'm 99% sure. The game didn't give me the fucking key item that I needed to get the best ending until I beat it once. The point I'm making is that you can still proceed and then rewind your progress. Just carefully read the prompt at the game so that you don't fuck it up. I don't totally know this from experience or anything. This one is going to last a while before fully explained, so let me take a deep breath here. Going on from the last tip, I think there's a high likelihood that it will be easier to maximize your characters and 100% the game in New Game Plus. Because beating the game unlocks Expert Mode, which adds 70 levels on every enemy in the game. It's like Agito difficulty from Type 0, Final Fantasy Type 0, that is. And it makes them a bit more tanky, adds a few enemies and chests into the game that didn't exist prior. Some of these chests include an item like this. Memories of... insert character name here. And that makes the affinity gain for that character rise faster. And it appears to stack with the Nostalgic Echo key item that you can buy from Argo immediately after New Game Plusing, so it sounds to me like the grind would be much faster on New Game Plus. But I didn't crunch any numbers. You can always just not New Game Plus and change the difficulty to Expert Mode on your save, but where's the fucking fun in that? I'd rather play through the game again, but that's just me. Everybody has preferences. Also, New Game Plus lets Lisbeth get to a higher level shop, so there's that. Those memories I mentioned also might be tied to New Game Plus and not the actual difficulty mode that I've never tested this. So, try that at your own risk. I'm not 100% sure how that works. Tip number 16. If your Arphasis is set up for support, they can be tripped up a little bit by the party heal skill called Healing Field. You can bypass this AI buffoonery for the most part by stacking healing bullet skills. This makes your Arphasis easily the best healer in the game, as they can have up to 3 different heals, and you can set them to heal every single time that they're able to. And the skill has an 8-second cooldown, so if you're like me and you face tank everything like an idiot, then it'll make your life a lot easier. Remember that completely removing a skill from their set also eliminates the possibility of them wasting time on said skill instead of healing you, so you can, in theory, give your Arphasis 3 healing bullets, and then that's it. Fuck giving her any flexibility anyway, right? The final and most important tip. Simply have fun with it, guys. No bullshit. Just find ways to enjoy yourself. The grind sucks for getting the 100%ers bonus, but find ways to twist it up and enjoy your time. Explore the maps for fun. Play the silly PvP or PvE game lobbies. I still haven't played any of them. They seem pretty silly. And I couldn't match with anybody that wasn't, like, clearly on some other fucking continent or something because my ping was ridiculous. But anyway, or, you know, have some fun using emotes from the menu. If you hold an R1 and left on the D-pad, it opens up this menu. I wanted to explain that in specific detail because they're very fun. But anyway, these are PS4 controls, of course. On that note, guys, I'm done. I hope that taught you at least something, and may your first step into the game be a little bit more insightful and a whole lot of fun. If you know about any other tips for beginners in the game, please add them to the comments below. Try not to be a troll about it, unless, of course, it is genuinely fucking funny. And I will see you guys later. Ciao.